client. Two deficiencies upon which the suspension are based are acknowledged by Mr. Rude. The barber pole attached to the building will be covered immediately and removed at the earliest opportunity. He will be in compliance with the Section 525 occupant restrictions at the earliest possible time. He consents to a prompt reinspection by the building department upon notifying the city the cures are complete. He has commenced to cure both and intends to complete the process within the shortest possible time. He doesn't believe an adversarial contest with a sworn evidentiary hearing is in the best interest of the city or his business. In the interim, my client has secured a temporary fully licensed location to continue to engage in his occupation as it is essential to his livelihood, his customers' needs, and his family's care and support. Please do not hesitate to contact the undersigned should you have any questions or concerns. Very truly yours, Francis Sauvé, C.C. Evan Rude. With this in light, it's up to the city council. We can wait 10 days. We can decide tonight. We have two choices: renew the license, revoke the license. Mr. Rude, through his attorney, has consented the two deficiencies exist. It is in our hands. Does council have any questions or anything?
So if he's admitting that he's not in compliance, I'll make a motion to revoke the license.
Support. All right, the motion is made. Support. Questions from council?
Yeah, you would have to oblige the two that he's in non-compliance with and receive his license again. Is that how I take it? If it's revoked?
Say that again.
If it's revoked, what's it take to get it back?
He has to.
Compliant?
He has to cure these two deficiencies. Correct.
Let him admit it though.
Reapply.
Reapply after he cures the deficiency in inspection.
My understanding.
All right. Anybody else? All right, call the roll.
Kufa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Ellery?
Yes.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Kleeman?
No.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. At this time, I will close the public hearing, or the hearing. And I'll ask if there's any public comment that would like to come forward. Come up to this microphone, give us your name and address, please.
My name is John Cole. I live at 4197 Blue River Drive, St. Clair Township, 48079. I think what I see happening today is a couple things. We got all these people from the community out here tonight to make a statement as to what they think should apply for the townships and municipalities that they live in. I think this is a conscious effort by the community to come out and support a gentleman that's only trying to make a living for himself and his family. And I think it's important for us to work together as voters, politicians. We realize you have a job to do, and maybe work together and act as adults and say, listen, let's hold this off. We'll give you 2 weeks to comply with what you need to do on your end to make it compliant, and then we'll decide at that time. Just to come up here with all these people taking time out of their busy day and say, the board's gonna vote no, we're gonna suspend it and have to reissue the matter in a couple weeks. I think it's an affront to all the voters and all the people that are here in attendance today to support a person. A one-man business is trying to support his family and make a living. And I understand there's rules and regulations, but I think we work to work better as a team to bring about this. Let the people here step up and see if they agree with me or with the panel here. I mean, they're here for a reason, because I think they're here to support somebody trying to do the right thing to support him and his family. And I think most of us would agree there was some minor setbacks along the way, but let's maybe say, Mr. Rude, we'll give you a couple weeks. If you don't do it, we're gonna suspend it, and you're gonna have to start all over and reapply. And that's just my opinion, and other people can either agree with me or agree with the panel. That's their decision, but I just had to.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you.
Paulette Campbell. I live at 804 Clinton. And to give him 2 more weeks, he has had, him and his father, Mr. Donald Root, has had plenty of time to cooperate with the ordinances. We have all gotten, every single meeting, a packet of the ordinances and everything which he has not followed, and he still, to date, has not followed. He has not evicted his tenants. He does not live there. The tenants park in Meredith Tax parking lot. Maybe there's a car there in the parking lot for a couple of hours in front of his house, but that's it. You know, the barber pole, I'm the one that started with the barber pole, but it does not comply with the ordinance about signage out there. And to me, that takes away from our residential area. The barber pole, you know, that is minimal compared to what's going on. If you lived in my house, his barber chair sits, and Mr. Mayor has been to our house, it sits directly across the street from our dining room. We can't even eat at our dining room table because he is there with his customers and they look directly into our house. I don't feel after, we've only lived here 14 years, but I don't feel after all of this that I should have to put up blackening dark curtains or whatever you call them to keep them from looking in my window. That is wrong. I feel that is totally wrong. So to agree with that gentleman that just spoke, no, he does not know what is happening. We've been here at just about every meeting. Everybody here, we knew he was getting together people to get here tonight at the meeting. We heard that, to show people support for him. Well, they don't live there. They don't know what's been happening there. Mr. Donald Root had started construction in the neighborhood before this was even brought here. That is wrong. He went against the ordinance and everything right from the beginning. They've had plenty of time to comply with the ordinances. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'm Reva Boyer, and Evan is my nephew, and Don Root is my brother. And Mrs. Campbell is not telling the full truth. From the very beginning, my brother and Evan contacted the city, went to try to do everything he could, talked to Dee Boyer, who is my cousin. We have a lot of interest in this town. I hope it does well, but I think that Mrs. Campbell is a little extreme because everything that the council or the city told my brother and my nephew to do, he followed it totally as much as possible. And even to going to try and getting the change in, like for the Coney down there that is sitting there, and evidently you gave him the ability to have a Coney down there that is obstructing the whole road. I can't even understand why you wouldn't support one small house turned over to be a, if anybody go and look at the barber shop, you'll be very happy with it, with the quality of work and what it looks like. As everybody probably here that is trying to support Evan would probably agree with. Anybody agreeing with it? It looks good.
Yeah. Pardon me? Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Brian.
Good evening, Brian Kowalski, 443 Margaret Street, East China. I'm not a resident of the city, and I'm not politically savvy yet, but I'm getting there. I'm sitting here watching the council today take an action before giving a gentleman the opportunity, but my question is this. It's a question, not a comment. Why was he issued a business permit? And this is where I may not understand the whole legalities of how the process goes. Why was he even allowed to open and, you know, start his business and then be shut down? If he didn't comply, which I support Evan, I went there for a haircut Thursday and realized he was closed. I didn't know anything was going on. I'm trying to figure out why the council would let somebody go into business, make the investment, and then turn around and revoke the license. So that would be my question. I don't know if you're answering that.
I think Mr. Boyer wants to address the crowd tonight. Thank you, Brian.
Dee Bollier, I'm the building inspector in the city of St. Clair. Let me give you a little bit of history as to what really actually transpired. I know that there's a lot of people here in support, and Mrs. Campbell, I can understand her frustration. Okay, Mr. Rude started some work on the building prior to even coming into the city for a building permit, but he didn't do that. He also, at the same time, applied to have a rezoning done to MD2, which is mixed use. This would allow for a residence, rentals, and a business, okay? So you could have a commercial business and rentals, okay? Now, he got denied the rezoning. The planning commission was unanimous, as was the council. And the biggest reason why is the rezoning goes against our master plan. According to what the planner said, that if they okayed the MD2 zoning, they could be sued by somebody else later on that wants something that gets denied. So, his only option was home occupation, which is fine. It's allowed in a residential district. But you must reside at that dwelling, which he does not, and from what I understand, he never intended to, which is a violation. He has to live at that residency to have a legal home occupation. And I'd be happy to answer any questions somebody else may have. Yeah.
What constitutes legal occupation?
Legal occupation?
Occupancy.
It's the, well, the ordinance 5.25, .2. Okay, the home occupation shall involve no employees other than members of the immediate family residing on the premises, which he hasn't since he's been open. Now, it was told to me that he was going to live there. That's why he got his occupancy permit. But it's, you know, it's my duty to enforce the ordinance, and he hasn't come.
I might be able to help you explain that and define that question for the gentleman. Michigan law defines principal residence as the one place where a person has his or her true, fixed, and permanent home to which, whenever absent, he or she intends to return and that shall continue as a principal residence until further principal residence is established. That's the definition of a home occupation.
By the Michigan Treasury.
So if he's there 5 days a week, 8 hours or 10 hours a day, he's occupying that facility.
Where he's residing, he's doing his home occupation there, he's not residing there. The other thing that I was going to mention is that he has an opportunity to appeal this after his license was revoked or he was told to shut down. You have so much time. You've only got 10 days. You can either revoke it, what was it? Revoke it or reinstate it, but it's all got to happen within 10 days. They elected to have this hearing today, and I don't know that he can get everything done in 10 days. So the council has to pretty much revoke it, and as soon as he complies, it will be reinstated. I guarantee you that. But he's got to apply.
Mr. D, can you tell me how many people live in that house?
3 that I know.
And would they all be,
Well, there's 2 units there. One's going to have, so one unit's got to be his.
I'm not being nasty, I feel sorry for the people that live in that house that are gonna have to be evicted. Because of the ordinance. I didn't make the ordinance. I feel sorry for the ladies that are living there.
Sure, Mr. Rude does as well.
I hope he does.
I'm sure he does.
I hope he does.
But
But I
can't
didn't make
even
the
home and
ordinance.
drive where he lives now.
He does not. if he goes back for his license, does the barber shop have to stay the way it is?
Yes,
It's very
yeah.
intrusive. He did much more work than the ordinance.
Well, it's a little bright, yes, it might be. The barber pole is not gonna be allowed.
Right, but, I mean, the rest of it is parking
Actually, I
lot,
think it looks
yellow
pretty good,
lines.
to be honest with you.
Down now, don't sign.
Can I talk? Is that okay?
Come up here and give
Oh, I
your
don't
name.
need to come any closer, trust me, everybody can hear me, because I don't talk calm or quietly. I don't need a microphone, believe me. My name's Jonathan McLaren. I graduated from St. Clair High School a long time ago, all right? My family is one of the founding families of this town, way back when it was plated in 1821, all right? This is so trivial, and it's so stupid. Over a barber pole? Really, people?
This is not over a
Yeah,
barber
okay, I've heard you. You are part of the problem. You are part of the old ladies club.
Excuse me, excuse me.
Now, where I'm going with this.
Let's keep this under control, please.
Where I'm going with this.
Let's keep this under
is-
control, please.
I have known the Root family since his dad owned the barber shop down in the mall. My grandfather would take me down there for haircuts, all right? I grew up with the kids, all right? I've known the family forever. They're one of the, they've been here for generations as well, all right? For me, they're being singled out. I got the ordinances, okay, understood. Ordinances, rules, regulations, did it for 24 and a half years in the Marine Corps and the Army, all right? Been there, done it, played all the games, all right? But over a barber pole? Really? Okay. If there's some reason that's causing all this hate and discontent in the city, really? A barber pole. Come on.
This is not about a barber pole.
And other people living, if this is a split unit, why can't one side of it be zoned for commercial? Why can't it be a split zone? Come on. The city makes up ordinances all the time for other things. Since I have been home since October, I have talked to tons of small business owners in this town. And I've talked to tons of other people. This city makes up ordinances all the time. And a lot of small business owners are closing up shop and leaving this city because they're sick and tired of it. I am friends with a couple of them that are harassed because of lights and because of other things, okay? That's ridiculous.
Thank you.
Enough is enough.
Thank you, John. All right, in the interest of, we all try to remain courteous here. Unless there's like new information, rather than let's just keep bringing everybody up here and saying the same thing, is there anything new or different?
I just want to ask, how would you split up, how would you split that?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Is there anything new or different that?
Just with the article that was in the paper yesterday, one of the headlines, in project spurring development in downtown St. Clair. This seems like it's cutting business in St. Clair.
Yeah. Can you give me your name and address, please?
Gordy Nicolai, 1426 Goff Street.
All right, I'm sorry. State your question again, Gordy. I'm sorry.
Just the newspaper article yesterday. Like I said, it's spurring new business, but yet somebody's getting revoked. Yeah. It's hard for us residents to understand why there's an article in the paper and then to hear that somebody's being revoked when they're just trying to provide for the family, provide a service to this community.
Yeah. All right, let me take a couple minutes here, folks. Just bear with me. This city council does not discourage new business. The statement that businesses are leaving town, those are business-driven decisions. People are not making enough money, they leave town. We also have new businesses coming in. As far as the spot zoning, if according to our planning consultant, if we spot zone that property, and then the guy next door comes and says, well, spot zone me for a party store, and his neighbor wants to spot zone for a meat packing house or whatever you call them, you know, and How do we turn down the second guy if we've given the first guy permission? That's why the spot zoning thing was frowned upon by our planning consultant. As far as splitting the zoning, we can't do that. We can't split a house, making half of it and half of it and half of that. We have tried to work with Evan, and Evan has tried to work with us. By his own admission, I wish he was here or his attorney was here so we could ask him, but we received a letter this afternoon saying he admits there are two defaults, the poll and the occupancy. He must reside on the premises. There are 20 other home businesses in the city of St. Clair. If you drive by those businesses, you will not know their businesses. And that's the purpose of home businesses. People who are in there doing accounting, maybe cutting hair. There's a couple girls that do that. There are people who do on their computer. Those are home businesses. That's how you do it. When you drive by a place, you don't look and go, oh, that's a store, and a guy lives there. You go, oh, a guy lives there, but he does his accounting there. He does his hair cutting in there. That's the purpose of home business, to give people a chance to do that. We are bound, this group right here. When we take office, we take an oath to uphold the charter of the city of St. Clair. If we'd have voted yes tonight, we'd be violating that oath that we took. When a man sends me a letter that says, yes, I violated 2 things, there is no way I can look at my people and say, look, he admits to doing wrong, but you know what? Emotionally, I like Evan Rood. Emotionally, I look at that building, it looks better than it looked before. But I have to do what's legally correct. Now, he has admitted he is going to remedy those errors, those 2 deficiencies. When he does that, why would we turn him down? We wouldn't. He'd go back, get his license, go back to cutting hair. But he's got to remedy those, just like anybody else. All of you are asked every day to obey the law. I'm assuming that most of you do. Speed laws, parking laws, whatever. And that's all we're asking him to do. We are not putting any kind of undue burden on him that is inflicted by us. He was told, you got to live there. You have to reside on the premises. And that's important because if we let him not, how do I tell somebody who comes along next time who lives in Marysville, Algonac, Port Huron, and say, look, I live in Marysville, Algonac, Port Huron, or out here on Rattle Run. I'm going to open up a card shop over on 7th and Cass. Now, you did it for this guy. Why can't you do it for me? That's the rationale. Council, feel free to tell me I'm wrong, tell me I'm right. I don't know, but we are bound by the charter. This country is still under the concept of the rule of law. The rule of law says you go by the law, not by emotion. And I understand your support for Evan. I went over to his, Tom Foley called me, I don't know, 2 months ago, and he said, Bill, can you go talk to Evan? He's confused. I went over to his shop. Okay, this is what Evan referred to as an ex parte meeting that him and I had. Well, Law 101 ex parte meetings are between lawyers and judges. If I'm on a case and he's on a case, and I go to the judge and say, don't listen to him, he's an idiot, and he goes and tells the judge, don't listen to him, he's an idiot, that's an illegal act. That's an ex parte meeting. A meeting between a mayor and his citizens is nowhere near an ex parte meeting. I went to Evan's barber shop and I sat with his dad and with Evan. And they said, Bill, how do we do this? I said, what happened to the planning commission? We got shut down 7-zip. Why? Spot zoning. I said, well, if the planning consultant tells us that we passed spot zoning, we're opening the city for lawsuits, and I got to look at an attorney at $125,000 to fight a lawsuit that this city is going to lose, I have to listen to that recommendation. So I told Evan, what's the next option? What do you think you're going to do? Well, what about a home business? Make sure you follow the 9 criteria, Evan. You can do it. You have to live here. I'm going to live here. Okay? Follow the other 8 and you're in. That's not what happened. The letter we received today, he says he didn't do that. You guys, we had to vote no. We have to make him go through the process of what the rest of us would be required to do. When I opened my old church on County Drive, she's probably 15 years ago, I was delayed 2 months, and I was on city council, I was a councilman at the time, and I was delayed by 2 months because the planning commission kept saying, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I said, okay, I'll do it. They pushed me out 2 months from when I wanted to open. It's a country of rule of law, and that's what we have to do. And I'm sorry that it hurts some people's feelings. I don't mean to do that, obviously. Whose feelings do I want to hurt?
It's not hurt
but
people's feelings. I'm being uprooted. I have to find somewhere else to live. I live there.
I feel sorry for you.
We do. We see you all the time. So.
I don't think it's right.
I feel bad.
Let me continue.
I literally stood in your yard and watched me walk to work, and I know you've taken pictures of my vehicle. I personally
All right, now look here now. I don't want this going on. I'm gonna have the chief remove some of you people. This is what it's gonna turn into, and that's not what we're doing tonight.
I just want to say, we don't spy on the people across the street.
Let me finish this for a minute.
I live there, and if I wish to walk past my door, I can do that.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a minute here.
I'm not a harmful man. Let me finish, Bill. No. I mean no harm to the Rude family. None. And I don't care what you think, ma'am. I don't care, okay? And I don't want to get into silly arguments.
Well, we don't really want to hear what you have to say.
Please, you guys, come on.
Well, let's all be adults here. Stop. No.
All right, hang on one second. At this time, I think I'm just going to say that as far as public comment goes, we're going to be done with public comment for a minute. Let me finish this little thing that I made up in light of what had happened last week. Evan came up and read this letter and talked about ex parte, and I did some research. I talked to Mr. Downey. Ex parte, I described it to you. Evan, in this letter to me, said that the board is being swayed by 2 local residents who are complaining. We try to listen to everyone. I went out there and I talked to Evan. I talked to Evan on the phone. Evan called me. Evan calls me and apologizes to me that what he did, he felt wrong about. But it's out there, and people think that we're doing something up here with illegal meetings. There is nothing illegal about a council member, including myself, going out and talking to the public. I do it all the time. That's what I'm supposed to do. The master plan, he said that somehow that we were supposed to do that every 5 years. We called the state of Michigan. There is no law as to how long you have to do a master plan. Some cities do them every 10 years, every 15 years, every 20 years. We did ours in 2012. We started the process 3 months ago. It's in the hand of St. Clair County Planning. The process has started. We are not remiss in that at all. This is a letter from Mr. Booth. He is sick, so he asked that I would read it. August 7th, 2017, the City Council passed 1714 resolution authorizing the city to participate in MEDC's redevelopment Ready Communities program. Training and self-evaluation requirements were all completed prior to October 1st, 2017. As part of the city's self-evaluation process, we indicated that the city's plan was last updated in 2012. Further, we indicated that we plan to review and update the plan. The city has contracted with St. Clair County Metropolitan Planning to assist with the review and to update the city's master plan. Completion of the review is expected in 2019. MEDC has been contacted to see if 2019 would be an issue for completion. They indicate that there's no planning policy. Further, they indicated that some plans at other municipalities are in excess of 40 years old. Currently, the MEDC is scheduled to be in mid-November to review the city's planning and how a community development vision is embedded in the master plan and other related plans such as the capital improvement plans, downtown plan, and quarter plan. The plan does not need to be updated every 5 years. It may be readopted. We are not readopting the old plan. We will be reviewing and updating it as deemed necessary. That's from Mr. Booth. He apologized. He's not here. He called me. He was sick as a dog. Last but not least, bear with me, you guys. In the last part of Mr. Root's letter, he said, sitting on the council is much more than walking in local parades and giving Memorial Day speeches and voting with your gut. I completely agree with that statement. My day starts at 9:30 every day here. I come every day to City Hall from 9:30 for about an hour. Many afternoons I come back for meetings and nights I come back for meetings. I'm involved with every contract negotiating with the police department, the DPW, wastewater, and waste management. I do receive phone calls and emails from people to come and talk to them at their home, to come and talk to them at their business, to meet them someplace and talk about things. There's nothing illegal about those meetings, you guys. That's what we are voted on here to do. Every one of these people up here goes out and talks to people. That is our purpose. So yeah, there is a lot more to it than just parades and speeches. With that, you guys, if anybody has anything new to offer to this, we only did what we had to do up here. We are governed by the rule of law. We did not do anything that is illegal or immoral. Mr. Root has admitted he's in deficiency in 2 areas. He's going to correct that. When he corrects that, he'll get his license to do that home business. That's how it's supposed to work. Does anybody have anything new?
Mayor?
New? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Just a couple of things. Your statement in regards to the master plan. It's correct. It's guided by the Michigan Planning Enabling Act that was put in 2006, and you are all more aware of that, especially Mr. Reporter sets on the Planning Commission, I believe. You're correct. There is no time frame. Redevelopment Ready Communities does suggest a 5-year review period. One suggestion for the council to consider, Mayor, after reading your statement saying that this may not be done until 2019. There is a section that's characterized as a downtown influence area. Many of you are probably aware of that. That is Clinton Avenue. It does indicate mixed use. I can see how that would be confusing for anyone. Don't know whether Mr. Rube is right, wrong, or indifferent, but certainly the way that it reads in the current master plan, it is somewhat confusing in categorizing that as a development focus area and specifies Clinton Avenue for mixed use. So, suggestion, you may want to look at that now rather than wait to 2019. You could have this issue happen again, certainly along Clinton. It's very clear that it identifies Clinton Avenue. So,
thank you. Anybody else with anything new?
Just got one question. You said a little while ago about you have to be an actual resident. What does that actual, to stay in that building, right?
Right.
So he'd have to be there to open his job. Now, if he was there for 8 to 12 hours, and if he took a nap there, and then went somewhere else, like, oh, I don't know, a vacation home, is that legal?
No. The state of Michigan defines residing in a resident as this. Where do your medical bills go? Where does your mail go? When you leave town and come back, where do you go back to? When you do your tax returns, what do you list as your principal residence? And last but not least, when you do your personal tax exemption for your homestead on your home, that all of you, if you own a home, you do that and are exempt from 18 mills, where do you claim that? Now, if you want to check the tax records, you can find out where that's being claimed. I'm not going to do that at this point because I'm not going to start throwing people under the bus.
Okay, that's very interesting. But what happens when you, like say them fellows a few years ago that lived outside of Detroit and they're all politicians and police officers and stuff, they were supposed to be working in the city.
The state of Michigan changed that law. I think it's 25 miles now as you have to be within. Do you know, Chief?
Well, what about the ones that's in the government and if they run for election in one state and they live in another?
I agree with you, but you know what? I'm not fighting that fight tonight, okay?
All right. We can start the civil war all over.
Yeah, no kidding.
Y'all have a good day. God bless you.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Just one comment. Instead of voting the way you voted, could you not give him the opportunity to comply?
I asked Mr. Downey that. Downey said you have two choices. Rescind it, revoke it, or reinstate it.
Okay.
It's the only two choices we had. Tom, I looked at every way I could slice this thing, and I talked to Evan, I talked to Jim Downey. We were bound by the law to do what we did.
Okay.
I was under the impression we had 10 days after this hearing to act on this.
Right, we did. We said that last week. We said we'll try to do this tonight so Evan would know. I didn't want to leave him hanging out there.
Would it help if they came?
Well, I thought he was coming, but I can't control that.
At least as an attorney, you know.
Well, all right. And you know what? Thank you guys. I appreciate you coming out tonight. We really do. This is a great community. There's great things happening. This is a blip. We'll get through this. Evan will comply. He'll open his barber shop, and this will be just a memory. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Support. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we're adjourned, and thank you very much again, you guys.